This is TWiT.
High school graduation, usually a moment that's filled with excitement, it's celebration. Students, of course, are saying goodbye to their adolescent education lifestyle and transitioning toward adulthood. So it's a big moment. Many of the rituals, things like prom, graduation ceremonies, even yearbook signing, have either gone away entirely or shifted to a different form because of sheltering in place, of course. It's had a big impact on things. And that is often where innovation is born. And joining me is Jameel Shivji. He's the co-creator of the HAGS App, which makes signing yearbooks in the age of Corona possible. Congrats on your graduation and welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much.
It's awesome to get you on. Yeah, you bet, man. It's great to have you on here. Like I said, congratulations. You graduated. That's a huge milestone, huge step. Before we kind of get into the app, I wanted to ask you something just kind of on a more personal level, because I've been thinking about this a lot as we've kind of been in this weird coronavirus world for the past couple of months. Thought a lot about what it must feel like as a student, and particularly a graduating student, to not have the same experience as the graduates before you. Everybody's so used to these being the things that happen when you graduate. And then this year turned it all upside down for everyone. What was that experience? What has that been like for you?
It's definitely been a roller coaster for me and all my friends. I feel like we really just think we're in like a simulation when it started happening. And even drive through graduation, it just felt a bit just surreal. And I think I've sort of gotten used to the fact that it's not a normal situation. But yeah, it was definitely disappointing and frustrating, but also I completely get it.
Well, disappointing, frustrating, and yet you, unlike I'm sure a lot of students out there, didn't like sit back and be like, well, this is just the way it's going to be. You actually did something about it, which is incredible, which is remarkable. Like a true entrepreneur, who you obviously are. You saw this missing puzzle piece and made it. So I guess we can talk a little bit about HAGS, the HAGS app, which is all about, at least right now, yearbook signing. At what point did you come up with the idea for the app, and what was it like to kind of develop this from the start? Like, what was your experience like?
Yeah, totally. It was crazy. It was super, super organic and natural. So my sister came back from New York right when COVID started happening, about like 3 months ago, mid-March. And we were kind of talking about everything I was going to miss and as my last year of high school. And so I was kind of basically complaining that I don't get to fill out my last yearbook. And so then we were like, why don't we make a digital yearbook this year? And like, so people can sign everyone's yearbooks through Snapchat and make it super easy and super relaxed. And yeah, that's sort of how the idea came up. And then we kind of started working on it every day and like got the branding done and like the design and how we wanted it to really feel rustic yet playful and like just super natural and like sort of like a physical yearbook.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you mentioned your sister, of course. Your sister has experience in the technology world.
Right.
And not to mention it's your sister. You're creating something awesome with your sister. Exactly. That's got to be really cool. What was that? What was that like? Have you ever done any sort of collaboration like this with your sister? And I'm sure this is the kind of thing that kind of brings you even closer together than you were before.
Yeah, no, we've never done something like this. So it was a super new and fun experience. We worked on it every day, and she would sort of, like you said, she has like a background in tech, and I have absolutely no background in tech at all. So it was quite a learning experience for me, and she kind of guided me through it. We worked on design together and product together, and she sort of handled the technological engineering aspect of it. And I also headed the ambassador program where we got high school students from like all over the country to support HAGS and be excited for HAGS and just look forward to it. And yeah, that's sort of how we split up the roles. And like, we definitely got closer. I think we're telepathic now. So yeah, it's been great.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So we should also let people know who aren't familiar with the app. HAGS stands for Have a Good Summer. which I remember in the days of yearbook signing, that's a pretty common, pretty standard thing to put into somebody's yearbook.
Yeah.
Talk about how this app works. Like, this is obviously not your everyday yearbook, the like physical yearbook that is passed around and signed and everything like that. Like, what kind of sets this apart and makes it perfect for right now?
Yeah, totally. So when you download the app, you basically sign in through Snapchat, and it connects to your Snapchat account, and then you enter in your high school, graduation year, and state. And basically you open up to your yearbook, and it's sort of like you can flip the pages, and we wanted to sort of simulate the feeling of an actual yearbook. And then that's where your signatures will show up in the yearbook. And then on the top right-hand corner, you can go to your class and see basically everyone in your class who's on HAGS and their Bitmojis. And so it's kind of like a nice, intimate community that we've created. And we're super happy how it's turned out.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. And then you have also kind of worked in the ability to turn this digital yearbook into a physical one, because it's hard to get away entirely from physical. Maybe there will be a time where it's all digital, kind of like photos are now, it seems like. But I think what sets this apart and makes it really special is, at least I read your interview with previous host of this show, Megan Maroney, on 1-0, yes. And you mentioned in that interview that the proceeds that come in for turning this into a physical yearbook actually go to charity. You have a commitment to charity. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So basically, when we were about to launch, it was around the time George Floyd was murdered. And so, like the rest of the country, the rest of the world, we were very frustrated and sad and trying to figure out what we could do. And so we pushed launch, and we basically added this to where the users can purchase a physical yearbook, a physical version of their HAGS yearbook, and all the donations will go to Know Your Rights Camp. And we really gravitated towards Know Your Rights Camp because it sort of focuses on like the Black youth and like empowering them and like just giving them the same opportunities and everything. And so we really like that because our app is mainly focused on youth and like high schoolers. So yeah, we just wanted to do our part.
I love it, and what a big part you're doing for not just for the charity, but also for just like expanding, other graduating seniors who might be a little disgruntled or frustrated with the reality that is now. And here's a great alternative. So I love what you're doing. How has adoption been? Like, how you've gotten the word out and everything like that? What are you learning about kind of how your users are using the app? And yeah, I don't know, what do you think?
Yeah, people are loving it. I think people really love. It's been great to see how much they love like the design and like the playfulness of the app, how it's kind of rustic, and that kind of, we've seen that like that's kind of what gets people engaged, not only the functionality of the app. And so it's been great and really gratifying to see that, and just see people get yearbook signatures and like post them to their stories and like their Instagrams, and just kind of have a fun time with the app, even though we're in such a weird situation and climate in our world. It's great that HAGS can bring a little positivity to just the world.
Absolutely. I love it. So it is what it is right now. But of course, any entrepreneur will probably look at the thing they created and think of a million different ways that they can make it better or expand into a different direction or that sort of stuff. Right. What are your ideas for the future? I realize it just launched, so you're probably really focused on just supporting what it is. But you've got to have some ideas about what it could be. What are you thinking there?
Oh yeah, tons of ideas. I mean, we're really going in the direction of creating a place where high schoolers can hang out during the school day and outside of the school day, just with their classmates in a low barrier, intimate way. And so we're really trying to build off the class aspect and the unity of school, and how it's sort of like classes in schools are like cults in a way. And that's not really shown digitally. So we're definitely going in that direction. And we're super excited to experiment with it.
Right on. You have to be super proud of what you've accomplished. Prior to this, like, did you ever see yourself getting into this sort of like this sort of thing, creating an app, creating a service? Was it ever something that you were interested in before? And how do you feel like this is shaping what your future is going to be? Is this like opening your eyes to something that you didn't realize you were interested in, and now you're like, hey, wait a minute, I really like this. I want to do more of this.
Yeah, it's crazy. I never really saw myself going into this space. And everything's been happening super fast. So it's honestly been super hard to process everything. But yeah, I mean, going forward, I love HAGS and I love what I'm doing. And I also love acting and screenwriting, what I was originally going to just go into. So it's definitely going to be fun to sort of balance everything and see how that goes. But I definitely want to keep working for HAGS, with HAGS, and eventual kind of opportunities that come from it.
Yeah. There's nothing that says that you can't do both, especially when screenwriting and everything is such a creative endeavor. And I would say, I would argue that now is actually a really great time for someone who wants to create a career in this. Like there is a lot of opportunity for people to get really creative with the limitations that we have in sheltering in place. So if that's the direction that you're going, and you've got all the tools to do it right now, and so that's awesome.